Welcome to Let Love Pour podcast. It's your girl Kimberly, and we are on episode three. And so I just wanted to jump on here really briefly. It's not going to be a long day. I've prolonged for so long to give you guys another video, and I just really hate it. I've been so busy, but thank you for your patience and your dedication. You already know what to do first. If you're new here, let's subscribe, let's like and comment below, okay? And press that notification button so that you can know when I'm going live at another time. We're going to talk today about all's fair in love and war, question mark. And so I want to get into it briefly now, but go into details later in another episode, which will be the fourth episode. And I really feel like this is actually really important to get into because maybe for couples lately, especially in today's time, I don't think that anybody necessarily believes in playing fair anymore. Meaning, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get on top, whether that means I'm going to use you or I'm going to do something behind your back that you might not necessarily agree with, just to make sure that I'm on the next level. And I kind of experienced this within my own situationship that I'm in right now currently too. And it goes both ways. Like sometimes maybe I'm the one that's not fair, or maybe my partner is the one that's not fair. And I wanted to bring this to everybody's attention. I feel like it's really important, especially nowadays when people's mental health is not really lining up as it used to be or how it should. You want to be careful on how you kind of mess with an individual, because at any time they can snap, they can break. Let's not go to where it's going to be about killing, but it could get bad, and you want to tread lightly. You want to be honest where you're at. You want to move in love. So I was looking up the definition of all's fair in love and war. This is the definition that I found. If you think that you know a different version of it, let me know in the comments, and we'll get into it in the next episode. But basically what it's saying is that if one person, let's use an example in the workspace. If you have a client, I'm your coworker, you have a client that I know if that was my client, it would scale me up in the business, company, or within that office. And so I do something behind your back, and I speak to your client, and I convince them to turn into my client. So basically leave you alone, come to me, this is what I can offer to them, and it's more than what you're giving them. So they come to me, then I scale up. And then now you're looking at me like, wow, that was really shady of you, you're a snake, you're wrong. But at the end of the day, especially if we're in a competitive workspace or place, then it was almost necessary that I would do something like that. Like I have to do that in order for me to scale up. I don't want you to do better than me. I need to do better. I need to eat, so basically it's like, is that fair? Because just because you couldn't do it to me, but I did it to you, does that mean that it's actually wrong that I did it? Maybe you're mad because you couldn't do it first and I got you. So I think that that's where the question lies, is it fair to be that person to somebody else? Now, that's in the workplace. This is a coworker situation. You might not necessarily care about your coworkers' feelings, thoughts, and opinions about yourself, but what about when you're in a relationship and you're doing that to your actual loved one? This is somebody who you live with, who you eat with, you're coexisting, you're surviving with them. If you have children, your kids' well-being is in the hands of you and your partner. Is it okay to be that person in the relationship where you basically take advantage and or step all over the other person to make sure that where you gotta be at in life is good? You might not necessarily care about what the other person is doing. Is that okay? Should it be a team thing? Let me put it like that. I don't really know how I feel about that saying, all is fair in love and war. I don't think I agree. Whether it be in your relationship or whether it be just out in the world. I don't think that getting on top is trampling somebody else. I don't believe in that tactic. A lot of people do. Probably most millionaires and billionaires, that's what they did in order to get to where they are right now. But I think that if you're destined to become something and be somebody without forcing your way there, meaning like you cheat your way there, but you're gonna receive it. There's no need to destroy somebody else's life or dignity or break their heart, hurt their feelings in those ways, in order to be and get to where you want to get to. I was definitely conflicting with this, I guess, quote. So I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think. Now I want to move on really quickly onto, y'all already know, Love is Blind. So this one, I believe that they did it in Texas. And this season seemed to be, which is the American version of Love is Blind, seems to be probably the juiciest, meaning it got more real than it's ever been. I believe, and I think in my opinion, for Love is Blind, with the couples when they're getting to know each other in the pods, what they're actually expressing and talking about was very meaningful in those pods. Being completely vulnerable and open, like not caring about probably how you're going to look on this camera and to the viewers watching the show, but literally putting yourself out there for this other person on the opposite side of the wall to really understand like your need and your urge of wanting love and needing to be loved, and putting it all out on Front Street. But also, I'm not familiar with the names right now. I did jot them down, but I can't remember them. It was a couple that did get engaged in the pods, but they obviously are not engaged now. They didn't even make it onto the show because of the drama that happened, probably while they were filming it. And basically, one of the females has a lawsuit out against the producers of the show, and then against her, which is now her ex-fiance, who she claims sexually assaulted her. And so obviously the show holds responsibility for his actions because he's doing this under their care. The show is supposed to protect any participants, but protect her in a situation like that. But instead, they condoned it and almost pressured and pushed them into sexual activities so that it could make the show juicier. So unfortunately, she and they are going through a situation like that. But how about another juicy fact is that only one couple, first of all, damn, I don't even, okay, before I go any further, if you're watching this and you haven't watched the season yet or you did not complete it, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to not be listening to this up to this portion right here. And I'm probably going to talk about it for about, let's say, 2 to 3 minutes. So you could skip over to 13 minutes in on this video. So basically, only 2 couples ended up getting married out of the potential 5 to 6 couples that can. And then during the reunion, only one of them actually lasted. And I never would have guessed that it would have been them that would have lasted. They weren't even like really portrayed in the show as if they were that much meant to be for each other. So I was really proud of them for that. And it made me feel hopeful, actually, in a sense, like more hopeful than I've ever felt watching Love is Blind, because the sir, what's his name? Mitten, something like that. Milton, such a young boy, who decided to join this show actually is so much short for his age. And the way how he defended his woman during the show, the way how he handled situations, especially handled her when she was, you know, as society would call it, being a female and having attitudes or mood swings or whatever. It was the way he handled his family, like just all the way throughout the show, he's been consistent. And then obviously a year and a half later during the reunion, it's even more consistency, probably even tripled after that. And for his wife, which I can't remember her name right now, but anyways, I'm really proud of her because she seems to have grown a lot since the show. But I guess that's what happens when you find love. It changes you, especially if it's real love, if it's unconditional love, meant to be. The love, it molds you into a brand new person. See, you don't want to change for the sake of somebody else. You want to change for the sake of yourself. So I think that's what she was able to do. She was able to take her loud and vivacious self and basically become a woman, a wife, but also the woman that her husband may have needed her to be, but also just who she needs to be for herself as well. You don't always have to be on 1,000%. And I think that she composed herself 1,000% well. So applaud to them. I'm very happy for them. Now, boom, we're gonna go on to the next topic. Jada, my fellow Virgo, so sort of disappointed in you, but not really. Thanks for the juicy topics to get into though, you know. Not sure if everybody's familiar with what's been going on with Jada and Will, but it's been all over social media, it's been all over the news. We're pretty much forced into experiencing and knowing about their love life and knowing about the ins and the outs of the ups and the downs. And it seems like there might have been way more downs than there might have been ups. And it's a shocker because we really looked at their relationship like, wow, like they have it figured out. It seemed like maybe they had an open relationship kind of a thing where they agreed on that together. But apparently they've been separated for 6 years now. Even after Jada has been doing her red table talks and Will be on the show, or they'll be on their own social media pages together talking about certain things, doing like certain interviews. This never came up. Like we thought that Jada Pinkett Smith, because she's still married, they're just separated, probably emotionally, but they're not divorced. And as Jada has announced as well that she doesn't want to divorce Will. Like she doesn't want there to ever be a reason why she feels that she needs to divorce him. Definitely she's going through something eternally within herself. That's her own problem. I guess if Will Smith doesn't want to also divorce her too and he's not forcing her for a divorce, then why separate in that sense? But they did separate emotionally and I'm sure physically. And Jada is, while I was watching and I'm reading on certain things about her, all I could think is, wow, she's just such a Virgo. It's such a Virgo thing for her to do. And I know it sounds really bad, but it's like I can kind of relate to what she's doing, how she feels, what she's going through physically, emotionally, and mentally. I feel her. And I actually do applaud her for coming out with it, knowing damn well that it's not going to sound it's not going to sound pleasing to everyone, nor will everybody understand, nor does she even have to explain anything. And obviously this might have to do with sales for her book, but she still came out with it. They held it together for 6 years, y'all. But I was going to say this, is that they made it seem like she was cheating on Will, which I guess technically lawfully by marriage, I guess she is cheating. But they did make it seem like she was blatantly and has blatantly cheated on Will Smith with August Alsina with Will Smith's disapproval. And I'm not quite sure why they did that, but it's like at this, like, y'all haven't been together. Jada could do whatever she wants. Don't matter what, if as long as the man is, I think, needs to be 22 and higher, as long as he's that age bracket, she could do whatever she wants. She could sleep with whoever she wants to sleep with, hang out with whoever she wants to hang out with. Whatever decisions that she decides to make in her life is for her to go through that journey. As nobody else is not going to live her life for her. But I know that aside from those things, as a person separately and independently, with Jada and Will being such a unity, like a picture, an example of unity, especially for a marriage, it kind of feels confusing at this point. And this kind of actually plays hand in hand with All's Fair in Love and War, I feel like. Because then if they haven't been together for 6 years, what has been happening with these two? Because they've been very much involved in front of the camera still, though, and I'm sure for businesses as well. Are they using each other to climb up the ladder? And at this point, does it appear to be fair? Because obviously then they both know that this is what each other is doing. It's not like somebody's doing something behind the other person's back. I mean, unless they are, and like we just don't know about that. But then Will did come out and I forgot, I think it was during some kind of a announcement or a speech that they had, or that Jada had, I'm sure, and he's standing by her side and he's let it be known that I'm going to stick by her no matter what. This is my best friend of all times. And sometimes we make mistakes and we marry our best friends. Sometimes we make mistakes and we have kids with them. We go onto territory that never should have been entered in the first place and mess up a great friendship relationship that you could have had. And but as long as you understand the factor of, look, listen, we're just not at the same place right now as far as husband and wife, but that doesn't mean that I don't love you. It doesn't mean that I hate you. It doesn't mean that you're on your own. It doesn't mean that you're no longer my friend. So in this situation, even though obviously there is love and war within their relationship, and they're probably using each other to get further in their careers and in their life, probably just mentally and emotionally and physically, it appears that it is fair in a situation like this. I don't know. Now, another side note, and I'm gonna wrap this up. It's about to be over right now. 2 more minutes, y'all. I have been meeting what appears to be great and amazing examples of people who are married, whether they've just been newlyweds, been married for 6, 7, 8 years, or been married for 30 plus years. I have been encountering these kind of people, and I have been collecting their information so that I can have them on my show at some point, whenever I get up to those episodes. And I want to really dive semi-deep, and if they allow me to, get really deep into how did they survive their relationship, or I should say marriage, and to give pointers. And at some point, if love was ever lost, or when was there the most love? Is there still love? You know, like really get people to talk about things that maybe they never even really stopped to think, to have these conversations with each other as well. So we will be getting into later episodes like that too. I'm gonna start, cranking this up. It's not gonna just be me every single time talking in this camera. I want it to be a group of people to talk about their experiences with love. Like I've said before in the very first episode, I want this to be a platform for people to express themselves, maybe even possibly find a loved one. Like maybe I might do like a blind date, like live blind date kind of a thing, like whoever pops up on the screen, like, hey, you guys got 3 minutes to figure this out. You taking the number or not? You know what I mean? Like something like that. People to talk about like how they probably lost love and they've never had it that kind of love again. And, you know, just things along those lines. So, thank you for your 20-minute time. And I'm going to sign off now, but just stay tuned. Today is what? Today is Saturday. I usually would like to have done this on a Thursday or on a Sunday, but my schedule just hasn't been lining up lately. So I think I'm just gonna pop on here just whenever I do. And whenever you catch this, that's great. Pass this video along to another friend. Let them know that episode 4, I was about to say 4. That's clearly 8, Kim. But episode 4 is coming up probably tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then I will work on Thursday. But I've just entered a new working situation, so my schedule is all haywired. I'm tired. I got a kid. Whatever. Nobody wants to hear about mommy drama. So, and remember, let love pour. Kimberly signing off.